Thanks for staying with us. I'm Jesse Waters in for Bill O'Reilly. And in the second Factor follow-up segment tonight, the consequences of illegal immigration. Earlier this month, the Factor told you about this man, Miguel Angel Villaseñor, a 40-year-old illegal immigrant wanted for killing 2 innocent women in a fatal hit-and-run in Louisville, Kentucky. Villaseñor had been deported from this country 8 times before that crash. Now he is on the run. Jessica Vaughn from the Center for Immigration Studies discussed the case on the Contributing Factor podcast.
The first problem is that he is able to get back in all those times after being deported, and that's an indication that our border is not particularly secure. There are very credible studies that have estimated that at least half of the people who try to cross illegally are going to be able to succeed.
Joining us now from Chicago to respond, Steve Cortez, who was a member of the Trump campaign's Hispanic Advisory Council. And from Washington, Ali Noorani, Executive Director of the National Immigration Forum and author of the forthcoming book, There Goes the Neighborhood. So, Ali, I'll start with you. You have this guy, Miguel, deported 8 times. He had a rap sheet in and out of a bunch of different cities, killed 2 people in a hit and run. And you're saying you do not want the federal immigration authorities to know about a guy like this?
Well, first of all, our thoughts and prayers go out to the families of these 2 young women who were killed in this tragic incident. It's an awful, awful thing. What we're saying is that the best way to make sure that individuals like this who have made it into the country, that they are found by federal immigration enforcement,
yes,
is to shrink the haystack of the 11 million undocumented so that our valuable law enforcement resources can pursue individuals like this. The best way to do that is to make sure they have a path to legal status, they're passing a criminal background check,
wait a second,
and ultimately they're paying their taxes.
Wait a second. Your strategy here is to shrink the haystack. In order to prevent something like this, all you have to do, if you're a municipal official and the guy comes through the booking unit, pick up the call, hey, feds, ICE, this guy's illegal, he's not here, he just committed a crime, why don't you go pick him up? That's all you have to do.
And you're absolutely right, that we need to tighten our communication between local law enforcement. When somebody has been brought into the facility and has been convicted of a crime, that person should be run through these databases. And if they are here illegally and have committed a violent crime,
you've been convicted of a crime. When you're brought in, when you're booked, when you're arrested for a crime, call up ICE, say this guy's not here legally. You might want to put a detainer on him. Listen, Steve, you agree. This is solvable. This isn't rocket science. This is easy. This is preventable tragedy. I mean, I don't know what Ali's talking about.
It's solvable, and it must be solvable, because let me tell you this, too. What's interesting about this terrible, tragic case also, and I think it's emblematic, is that the victims happen to be legal Hispanic immigrants. And by the way, who are most terrorized by illegal immigrants? Generally, it's legal immigrant communities. It's cops. It's not people like, by the way, I live in Chicago, where Mayor Rahm Emanuel proudly boasts that we're going to have a sanctuary city. Well, guess what? Rahm Emanuel is guarded by 24-hour taxpayer-provided police protection. He doesn't have to live with the consequences of having dangerous people who are hiding in plain sight, who often terrorize American communities. And by the way, many of them, people with names like Cortez and Romero and Martinez. He doesn't have to live with that. He's not the cop on the beat who has to deal with the day-to-day consequences of these policies. It's one of the reasons, by the way, that Donald Trump won, is we are sick and tired of Americans of having elites make policies that might benefit them, but they don't have to live with the on-the-ground ramifications of those policies.
Ali, Steve makes a good point here, and this is one of the reasons that contributed to the Democrats losing, is you have these illegal immigrants that come here, take Americans' jobs, commit crimes, don't pay any taxes, and then get special treatment by the government, where law-abiding, tax-paying American citizens, they're just left out to dry. Go ahead, last point.
Every police officer and deputy sheriff in the country takes an oath to serve and protect their community. They believe, and we have worked with over 100 law enforcement officials across the country. I've toured the border with them. What they tell us to a person is that the best way for them to serve and protect their community is to have the trust of the entirety of their community. So as soon as local law enforcement starts to ask, Jose for his immigration status. If Jose is undocumented, they are not going to report a crime. So yes,
well, Ali,
the criminal element,
people that represent the Border Patrol actually endorsed Donald Trump for the first time
Jesse,
ever, and he's against sanctuary cities. So there you go, guys. I got to run.